She was what I had left in the world. She was my future.
The past tense is something Carol Gaxiola hoped she would never have to use when talking about her daughter, Jasmine. At just 14 years old, Jasmine was murdered.
When they shot her and killed her, they took everything from me. Everything I did up to that point was focused on her.
Carol was already mourning the loss of her eldest daughter, Anna, who died of an undiagnosed brain tumor. Now, with a second child gone, Carol was left to contemplate a future of emptiness.
My life was shattered into tiny bits, and it's going to be a lifelong process of finding meaning and putting it back together.
9 years ago, here in the south side of Tucson, Jasmine Gaxiola's life was cut short. Her mother, Carol, wanted to make sure that the tragedy that happened to her family would not repeat itself again.
Jasmine's is one of the more tragic, but those kinds of circumstances happen across Arizona every day.
Legislative liaison Kathleen Mayer from the Pima County District Attorney's Office lobbied on Carol's behalf to get Senate Bill 1429 passed. The bill was designed to seek justice for families of homicide victims.
Carol was gracious enough and brave enough to come up and testify on at least 2 separate occasions, one in the House and one in the Senate, about what happened to Jasmine, so that the legislators would understand why that change was an important one.
Carol's testimony put a face on the legislation. Senator John Huppenthal sponsored Senate Bill 1429. It was passed in his Judiciary Committee, then in both legislative chambers, and was later signed into law by the governor.
When you can pass a piece of legislation for somebody and not only help them, but also help everybody that might be in their situation in the future, that to me is like the ultimate feedback.
Carol's effort served as a stepping stone to give meaning to Jasmine's death.
She's handling it in the most admirable ways. In other words, trying to make a better society rising out of her circumstances.
Carol has been able to piece together her life and fill at least some of the emptiness by becoming involved with homicide survivors, helping victims' families and friends. She feels that advocating for homicide victims' rights is something that Jasmine would be proud of.
My child doesn't have a voice anymore, so I'm her voice. And anytime that I have an opportunity to speak and give her a voice, then that puts a piece of me back.